Welcome to Women at the Top, where we share professional journeys to inspire yours.
Hello, I'm your host, Max Zhang, founder of Human Prosperity. Today, I'm excited to have Jessica on the show.
Hi, Max. Thanks for having me. I'm Jessica Oistacher. I'm the founder of Élavive, a corporate wellness consultancy in New York City.
Amazing. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So we work with various organizations to develop workplace strategies that improve performance and culture. So, for example, we bring in yoga or meditation into the workplace as a way to energize and get teams excited to come back into the office.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about how do you go about helping people achieve those results?
Absolutely. So we'll work with each organization based on, the size, based on what they're trying to achieve. And we design a program, we'll see maybe they need something quarterly or monthly. We'll see what's best. And then for each element that we design, we try to incorporate the three pillars, because that is what is going to really make the entire experience magnetic. It's going to make everyone excited to go. It's not just, average candle making class that, half the people show up to and then never talk about again. So we really try to create each experience at an elevated level where it's having more of an impact beyond that initial instance. So, for example, we had an event recently. One of our most popular programs is our Breathe and Flow. I think a lot of corporate wellness programs, you might have a yoga class, right? And that's what it is. So you go in, you practice yoga, and it's over, right? People know kind of what to expect. But when you're in an office environment, you don't always have those connection points where you're really getting to know someone. So what we do in our Breathe and Flow, we'll start off with, getting to know everybody in the room. So we'll start off with a few interactive games so that people really build that connection from the start. The calm clarity piece, we always include some kind of mindfulness. Do you do any meditation, Max?
Mm-hmm. Mostly kind of focus on my breath and just at the same time I do a body scan as well to kind of relax every part of my body, and I do that on a daily basis, and generally I do that just right before bed.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. So some people like yourself, they're already familiar with breath work or meditation, and some people are a little bit afraid of it. So they say, oh, I can't meditate. And this is a way for everyone to get involved. We'll start with something small like breath work or a body scan, something that everybody can do and that has an impact. And it, settles your mind, settles your body in a way that's easy to do, doesn't take a lot of effort. And then the vital energy is, when we do the Breathe and Flow is a chair yoga. So you'll be sitting in the chair. We'll do it maybe in a conference room and say, where do you have some areas of tension? We want to release that tension, but we also have this as kind of a midday reset. So when you walk in, you might need that, be ready for your second cup of coffee. And this is a way for you to, get that energy without having to do that.
Okay, that's amazing. Yeah, I definitely agree. It's important to actually have an amazing experience when you're doing this kind of stuff. Because a lot of people, think about yoga, and think about exercise, think about meditation. It's like, oh, that's why do I want to do that? It's so boring. So
Right.
it's so important that you actually focus on making the experience more fun and more exciting, and where people actually come together and really actually participate. Because that participation, that's where the magic happens. Because if you don't actively participate, learning, you're not getting as much as you can out of the experience. Because a lot of times, when we actually in the office, we're just sitting on the desk all day and we're not moving. We're not letting the energy flow. And that's why it's so important to actually simply take breaks sometimes and do that yoga exercise in the morning or during one of your breaks or during the afternoon.
Yeah, it's really a game changer. I mean, like you said, it has to be fun, right? If it's not fun, you're not going to do it. So, the exercises that are fun and exciting, those are the ones you're going to want to do again. And even, I'm sure you experienced this from working in a corporate environment where you were just so busy. There's always more work to do, right? You could stay there overnight and I'm sure never finish, right? So having that intention to take a break, did you find yourself when you were in the corporate environment, you know, making that time for yourself, or how did you feel about that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, I have to actively actually look for and design my schedule so that I actually have time to take a break. When before doing this kind of stuff, at the end of my day, I was exhausted because I just work. And after 8 hours, my brain is tired, my body's tired. And I don't know what's going on. And I just end up, don't have energy. And I just end up just watching TV the remaining the rest of the day. And that's not very productive.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of people after one of our sessions, they say they feel relaxed. So you have this sense of clarity, but they also feel energized. So they feel like they can, get through the rest of the day and really give their full effort.
Yeah. So I mean, like, definitely, having those kind of routines that increase your stamina and your overall strength and also your overall energy. And of course, it's definitely important to have, those routines built into throughout the entire day as well. As part of every hour, take a break or other things. That's when you can really have that sustained energy throughout the entire day. So that even after work, you have energy to play with your family, your kids, and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of people, I think, I mean, myself included, years ago, I didn't make the time for myself. I, thought I could power through lunch and, work late, and you get burnt out that way. I think a lot of people, especially now with all the layoffs, people are taking on full jobs, and it's just not, they don't have the capacity to. So having some time for yourself to kind of reset and recalibrate, make sure that you're giving your best. It's really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, how did you get to where you are today?
So yeah, it's definitely been a journey. I started my career in recruitment. So I started actually in tech recruitment. We recruited specifically for Microsoft Dynamics. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the product, but and that's how I started out. And then I moved over to healthcare recruitment. And then simultaneously, I was in beauty school and doing hair as well. I kind of had a dual career, I guess you could say. I got the idea to build Élavive from cutting hair in the office. So when I was working in recruitment, I had a few colleagues that said, "Hey, can you cut my hair?" And I'm like, "Okay." And I started getting a few more. And that's, self-care is another part of feeling good and doing good work, right? I thought I could go to the office and give haircuts. And personally, I had practiced transcendental meditation. My husband and I took a course in July last year, I believe. And we practice every day, twice a day. You meditate 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night. I do practice yoga myself. And I feel like that just transformed my entire life. I used to do this meditation. I was still working in recruitment at the time. I do some guided meditations as well. And, it's 10 minutes long and you visualize the life that you want. So I would visualize that, I want to work 4 days a week. This is the lifestyle I want. And in my head, I kind of had a conflicted idea, right? Because I was like, I know the company I work for, like, that's never going to happen. And I guess I got the courage to start my own. And now I try, and Monday through Thursday, that's the core of my business. Fridays are more of like a fun day. I might schedule a few meetings, but I really try and get most of my work done within that 4-day work week and design that life that I want.
Oh, that's amazing. And definitely, it's so important that you design the life you want. Otherwise, the life will just design for you, and that's not probably what you want. So, and it's amazing that you actually have that clarity of the purpose and also of the life you want. Because a lot of people don't, and they end up not having the life they want. So
Right.
Once you have the life you want, then that's when you can start thinking about, okay, what can you do? What can you do on a daily, weekly basis to actually go towards that design you have? Yeah, so that's amazing. But at the same time, that's a pretty big jump, coming from recruiting to haircutting to wellness. Tell us a little bit more about that. Like, how did you make that jump, and what was driving it? And it's definitely also probably pretty challenging change as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm a lifelong learner. I try and read pretty consistently. And I think learning from so many founders and so many individuals who had started companies. Actually, have you ever heard the Founders podcast? Do you ever listen to that one?
No, I haven't.
David,
Check it out.
yeah, David Senra. It's phenomenal. He reads all of these biographies of famous entrepreneurs, and he will give you, a 1 hour summary of the book. And now he started doing that with founders who are still alive. Yeah, I think one of the first episode I listened to was the story of the Michelin brothers and how they started their company. Well, they took it over. I think the business was failing. They had taken it over, and you hear all of the struggles that they went through. When you hear, okay, after you hear this 100 times, it starts to give you a little bit more courage to say, okay, I'm going to go through struggles, and I know that's coming, but I know I can have that resilience to get past it. And that's so important.
Yeah, definitely. Struggle is one of those things, we kind of shy away from, but at the same time, it's actually, in reality, something we actually want to have, because struggle is the start of, building your strength and start of growth and start of success. So, because in order for you to reach success, you have to struggle and you have to learn and grow, because, it's simply an indicator that, there's something you have not learned yet.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's funny. I read something recently about, having challenges and running towards them. And I think I'm pretty confident through all of my personal experience being able to, be faced with a challenge that seems impossible to resolve and get past it. Yeah, I think that it really all, it all kind of builds you up, right? To get to where you eventually want to be.
Yeah, and it is, what makes you the person you are today. Struggle is just simply strength hidden to be uncovered. What makes you transition from recruiting and haircutting to wellness full time?
The healthcare industry was going through a transition as well. A lot of companies that have been in business for decades were going under. So, I thought, okay, I'm going to have to make a move here. And you have to go by the industry, right? You can be the best at what you do, but if you're in a failing industry, it's time to look somewhere else. A lot of founders will say that too. If you get the industry right, you can make mistakes along the way, and you have a little bit of wiggle room to get past that. I mean, wellness is a growing market. I think a lot more people are invested in their personal health. I've always believed that, okay, my health is the most important thing. Whether it's having some sort of a physical activity, some sort of, like you said, spirituality. It's important to incorporate that into your life so that you're not losing your sense of self and kind of waking up 20 years later, having pills everywhere and having to spend half your life at the doctor. So yeah, I think it's a way for everyone's more aware of, okay, how do I take care of myself to prevent something that I don't want to happen in the future? The prevention is better than the cure, right?
Yeah, along the way, I'm sure you also kind of gone through a lot of struggles and a lot of challenges, in order to actually achieve the success you have today. So can you tell us a little bit more about, some of these challenges you kind of went through, just switching from, the recruiting to building your own company? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of different struggles, and how did you overcome them?
So I studied entrepreneurship. I went to Brewer College here in the city, and you learn a lot about the process of writing a business plan. And I never really knew what business I wanted to start, but I knew I wanted to be really passionate about the work that I do. When I decided to start Élavive, I had a very strong vision of what the company is going to do. So I didn't really know the details of it, but I had the vision. Okay, this is a place to start. And I did write out a full business plan. So I have some sort of a strategy to follow along. And after that, I personally knew something that I have to do is I have to get started, because if you start, you take that first step, you learn along the way, you might have to change something. It's not going to go as clear as planned, but you have to get started. So starting out, I maybe, I did the entire website myself. I did all of our sales strategy. I built everything out myself. And, it was just me. I'm used to working in a corporate environment where I was managing a team and I had 8 people to help me achieve my goals. And now it's just me. So that transition was a bit of a challenge because you only have so much capacity. If you're working 8 hours a day, you can only do so much in that time. So managing it to split up, okay, how much time am I going to spend on sales? How much time am I going to spend on marketing? Kind of dividing up all of those different roles and managing that time. That was a little bit of a challenge to kind of get used to. Starting out, sales are the most important. So I tried to spend the majority of my time on that, but I wanted to have a website that looks professional. I wanted to have a clear vision. I wanted to have packages that made sense to clients. So I did speak to a few individuals that I had a relationship with to say, okay, is this something you would even be interested in? And everyone was so excited about it. I think that was the best part, is everyone was receptive. I've had a ton of ideas that I've wanted to start before, and people are like, oh, that's interesting, right? But this one, everyone was like, wow, I would love that. So I knew I was in a good place to start. And you just have to keep going. There's definitely been ups and downs along the way, and you have to power through it. If you are stuck on something, I think there's so many resources nowadays to help you out. I mean, AI, I'm fascinated with AI. I've gone to so many conferences to try and figure out how to really utilize it and incorporate it into our business processes. And that's been a tremendous help, especially as a solo founder.
Yeah, definitely. It's important to actually leverage all the resources that's out there and get all the help you need. As a solo founder, you definitely need all the help, like we all do. So yeah. So definitely like what you said about, actually having the vision and clarity about what you want to do, but at the same time, not having enough detail that's actually okay. A lot of people think that you have to figure out all the details, and that's what stops them from executing. So because when you worry too much about details, like, oh, I don't know how to do this yet, I don't know how to sell, I don't know how to market, I don't know how to do that, and then they just paralyzed. They just stop doing anything. They won't actually start building their vision, their dream. The truth about realizing your dream is just having the dream and then having the courage to start taking action, even when you don't know all the details. And that's why you have the success today, because you are executing even when you don't have all the details.
Definitely. Yeah, I think it's what you said also about being so overwhelmed that you feel paralyzed. That translates also into wellness. So many companies, they know that this is the way of the future, but they don't know where to start. So we act as that partner as, okay, let's take a look at everything that you're doing, right? You have maybe a meditation app that you offer your employees. You have maybe a $100 stipend that you offer them towards wellness. Let's look at all of that and see how we can make it a cohesive message, because a lot of employees, surprisingly enough, don't even know the benefits that their company offers. When you worked in tech, were you aware of the full suite of benefits? I mean, besides health insurance, I think that's the most important for everyone. Were you aware of other benefits that they offered?
Some, but definitely not all of them.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've been having calls with HR leaders and even individuals who are, working, some past colleagues, asking them about what benefits they offer, and they're like, "Okay, let me pull up our benefits page here." So they're not really aware of what benefits their company even offers. So they're definitely not utilizing them. Yeah, initially I wanted to just offer yoga or offer meditation and bring that service into the workplace. And we've transitioned to creating a cohesive strategy. So we'll work one-on-one with HR leaders or founders and decide, okay, what does the full wellness strategy look like? And how can we make sure that your employees are actually using the benefits that you're paying for.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like if you since you're paying it, it's about use it. But a lot of times, as you said, it's just a lack of awareness, and that is like one of the biggest things. Even if you have a free benefits there, no one's aware of it. People cannot take advantage of it, and people just continue to struggle.
Exactly.
So it's awesome that you actually are aware of that, and you actually already have a plan to mitigate that and actually build that as part of your strategy to actually raise awareness and making sure people are using your service. And of course, the more they use it, the better for you and also better for them. So it's like a win-win situation.
Exactly. That's what we try and find. There's always opportunities where everyone wins, and that's a great success in my eyes.
Awesome. What are your secrets to achieve high performance?
That's a great question. I think to start, the mindset is the most important. I think living in a curious way of saying, how can I do that instead of I can't do that? That's one of the most important things. And that alone will up your game immediately. Maybe for someone who has no routine, who doesn't work out, doesn't meditate, doesn't do anything, I think you have to start with something small, right? You're not going to go from doing nothing to meditating for an hour a day. So maybe you start with 5 minutes a day. You want to really build that habit. That's the most important thing. Think about who is that person that I want to be? What does that look like? I want to be fit. I want to be healthy. I want to work 4 days a week, whatever it is. Envision that and then say, okay, well, how can I start? Okay, I'm going to start with 5 minutes a day, and you build a habit first before you maybe every day you do it a little bit longer, you do a little bit more. But starting with that, I think 5-minute habit is a great way to start. Like you said, designing your life around what you want. So having that vision, understanding this is where I want to be, where do I want to be physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Controlling our own emotions is a big part of it too, right? If you take the time to meditate 5 minutes in the morning, that might reroute an entire day of reactivity, right? Someone says the wrong thing to you, you get upset. Now learning not to focus on that as much as how can I really just let it go and move past it. Like I said, everything is a way for us to learn, right? So everything is a learning experience. If something happens to you, it's a way for you you can't control what they do, but you can control how you react. So yeah, for me, I think the meditation is huge. Physical activity is really important. Stretching. One of the services that we offer now is assisted stretching. Have you ever tried it?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so a lot of people have not, and awareness is a big part of it. Personally, I wasn't as aware with it myself. I tried it, and you feel like you just had a massage. It's incredible because I know how important stretching is, especially as we get older. We're sitting at the desk all day. You're very sedentary most of the day. So having someone, having that assisted stretch, you're not only getting a relaxation out of the experience, but you're taking that time to recover. We go to the gym, we work out, we spend all this time on our physical activity, but we don't take as much time to recover. So recovery is a really important part of that process too. I think your diet is huge. We have health coaches who work with clients either in group sessions or one-on-one. What you put into your body is going to compound, right? If you're eating whole natural foods, you're going to feel much better, right? If you're eating all these processed, easy grab and go, typical American style meals, you're not going to feel well. You're going to have more of a mental fog. You won't be able to think as clearly. So, that's also an important component. We have some master classes that we do. In January, we'll have probably once a quarter on various topics. So in January, we have one on Ayurveda. We have one on mindful eating, even dental hygiene. A lot of our health issues start in our mouth, believe it or not. So yeah, it's really all designed around how do I create and design this life that's going to bring me where I want to be. I'm sure you've heard of the blue zones.
Oh, I actually have not.
Really?
You're sharing a lot of information I don't know. Yeah.
I'm blanking on the individual's name who studied the blue zones, but essentially he studied all of these regions across the globe where individuals are living over 100 years old and study what habits they have that they're able to do that. And a lot of times they're they have their community, they are doing work that they love, they're eating right, all these components. You see these people who are 90, 100 years old, and you're amazed at what they're able to achieve. Yeah, I think that was probably maybe 10 years ago or so I came across it. And the more I looked into it, I actually had the opportunity to go to Okinawa myself this past summer and to see some of these individuals and the way they live and the way they, how sharp they are at such an old age. It just opens your eyes to what's possible, right?
And I think it is that holistic care, really thinking about, your physical health, your mental health, and what you eat, and even your dental health. Like everything are linked. And, when you actually take care of everything, when you're able to get everything at highest level, then you can actually live for a long time and at the same time be happy and successful as well. So.
Yeah. And, it's one thing to live a long life, but living a full life, how do you live a long life and also a full life? So a few years ago, maybe in 2019, a woman walked into my mother's workplace. She works at a monument dealer, so she sells gravestones. And this woman came in, older woman. She said, I want to buy a piece of stone for my art class. So, my mom helped her out and got to know her a little bit. We actually went to go and interview her. She was, at the time, I think 102 or 3. And she became an artist and was going to college at that age and creating sculptures. We went over her house. Her name was Margaret Ricciardi. We walk in and she's got all these little plates set up for us to have lunch, tea. We have a nice lunch, and then she's like, oh, but we have to have dessert. And she, gives us all cookies. So, and, some people are so extreme that they won't eat any sugar, but she had such a zest for life. And you would not think she was over 100. She made me look like 80 years old. It was incredible to see how full of a life she was living. She lived by herself. Took they picked her up to go to take her classes. That was certainly inspiring for me. And seeing what's possible, seeing what you're able to achieve. I think that's, a life worth living, right? We don't want to be 100 and sitting in a wheelchair.
Yeah, that was an amazing story. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And definitely agree. It's really more about thinking about how you go about living your life and why you're living your life. It's about how and why. It's not about what you do. It's not about the age or the number, because age, it is just simply a number. And regardless of your age, even if you are 10 years old, even you are 100, and you can have the life you want if you seem to just focus on why and how. How do you go about living well? How do you enjoy yourself? How do you become happy every single day? It's about the daily actions that you take that makes you happy and define who you are.
Right.
And that's amazing. She's learning and enjoying her life every single day. And that's the key. It's actually continuously learn, even if you're 100. Continue to learn every single day. Continue to have fun and enjoy the daily moments.
Definitely. And and enjoying yourself, especially during the holidays, right? Personally, I'm pretty rigid, January to November. And then during the holidays, I enjoy. You get together with family. You might go off your typical diet a little bit, and you have to have that mindset that, okay, I'm going to just enjoy it, right? I'm not going to eat a cookie and say, oh, that's so bad. I can't believe I did that. You have to have that mindset, and there's science now behind it to back it, of how our thoughts can actually, change our physiology. So it's very interesting, the power that your mind has.
Yeah, definitely. And one last question for you. What's next for you?
Yes.
What's your dream?
What's my dream? Wow, I have so many. I think for right now, I'm, going to continue building Élavive, sharing our story, sharing other inspiring stories. I think my dream is for everyone to do work that they love and feel inspired and unlock possibilities. Some people grew up in a very narrow mindset, and they're limited in what they think they can achieve, right? They think I have to get a job, I have to follow this path. I personally used to believe that myself. Since I've started Élavive, everyone always says the world's your oyster. It's true. It's like, every year I'll set new goals, and I'll have a few that are a little out there. And everyone always tells me, oh, you're crazy. And some of the things I've been able to achieve already, keeps me going, right? So I think for next year, we want to expand. I'm working with some companies internationally right now, and I love traveling. I love learning about new cultures. So I think that's something that we're going to be working on next year and helping to, just inspire new possibilities.
Oh, that's amazing. And definitely, it's a crazy one that actually creates the world, builds, creates the future. And of course, I'm one of them. Yeah, so thank you for sharing your professional journey to inspire others.
Yeah, thank you so much, Max.
For listening, and hope that inspired you to reach the top. To get some help, check out our free services at humanprosperity.io.